Much like Pokemon, Magic the Gathering has lots of little nuances and rules that lie beneath the surface of what you're actually looking at. Icebergs, if you will. Diglets, if you won't. And sure, you could have a great time playing either game, brute forcing your way through without actually understanding those deeper systems. What do you mean I've been using a relaxed nature Charizard? However, unlike with Pokemon, in Magic the Gathering, when a Magic the Gathering card says its own name, it only means one thing. In a previous video, we asked what would happen if we turn our Simic commander into a copy of a Nacatl War Pride using this background that nobody has really heard of. Then we attack with the War Pride commander, triggering its ability, setting up a Build-A-Board workshop. But before the ability resolves, we then turn our commander into a copy of an Apex Altasaur and attempt to commit atrocities. There were a few points of confusion in some of the responses for our original video, so let's go ahead and dive right in. First up, Shameless Charlatan is templated as pay 2 generic and a blue, this creature becomes a copy of another target creature. It is worth noting that Shameless Charlatan gives this ability to your commander. Now, reading through the ability, there is no clause stating activate only as a sorcery or activate only once per turn, so we can activate this ability at instant speed in response to things before combat damage, etc. Now, when we turn Omo into a copy of the Nacatl War Pride, a few different things happen. Omo obtains all of the, quote, copyable traits of the War Pride. And to remember what a copyable trait is, just remember that it is anything printed on the physical card itself. Okay, so now Omo, singular, is a Nacatl War Pride, plural. You figure that out, follow along. Now, when we attack, our Nacatl commander will put its trigger on the stack. You know, that imaginary fun zone that most of us only conceptualize using Magic the Gathering arena graphics. When this ability goes on the stack, players do get a moment to respond, and you can respond to that trigger by activating the Charlatan's given ability and turning Omo, a Nacatl War Pride, into an Altasaur. Here is where some of the sticking points of the answers I received arise, so let's take a small detour. Now, some may say, well, the commander doesn't have the War Pride's ability anymore, so the ability that is on the stack just kind of disappears, right? Some people might assume that perhaps because the War Pride's ability is referencing the War Pride that is no longer named Nacatl War Pride, it doesn't resolve. That would logically make sense. I would understand how you got there, but the road to understanding Magic the Gathering rules is more one of obsessive memorization and not through and through logic. It's a Scantron test, but most of the answers are actually C, as in look it up and see on the internet. However, when a card in Magic the Gathering ever references its name, it just means this object. This allows things like cloning and gaining abilities to function without inducing headaches. More headaches. So, with War Pride's ability amended to say this object, and the object it is referencing is the commander that has now shifted from being a War Pride to an Altasaur, the trigger does resolve, making X copies of the now Apex Altasaur that will have ETB abilities that enter the stack when those copies enter the battlefield. Ibuprofen in hand, we got there. But let's take some questions. Some of you said that the trigger for the Nacatl commander should make copies of Omo. Now keep in mind that when we make something a copy, that copy has all copyable traits, unless otherwise designated, like with Sakashima the Imposter, of the thing it is targeting or copying. So when you clone something, you're also creating a token copy of all copyable traits of the target. A good example to break this down is if you have a Shifting Woodlands land that becomes a copy of a creature in your graveyard. It has all copyable traits of that creature for all intents and purposes until that ability ends. And so if you clone the Shifting Woodlands, you have a token copy of the creature that the Woodlands is copying. Are you running this combo at all? It's fun, it's weird. I think there's all kinds of other tricks with other cards that you could do this with, and I think Omo's a fun commander for that, so are you doing that? And of course, let me know if I utterly or irrevocably biffed it on this one. I could have gotten something wrong along the way. And of course, hit that subscribe button so that I know I'm still valuable in this world.